Everybody is tired right now. Everybody is mentally exhausted, emotionally drained, financially stressed, and somehow people are expected to function like everything is okay. And we're going to talk about it. I am Janika C, and this is the Ascension Unfiltered podcast. Thank you for joining me for another week of unfiltered truth and pure awesomeness. This week is a bit of a special one because it's Ascension Takeover week, the final week in May. So I'll be dropping one episode every day for 5 days straight. I am super pumped, super excited, and I'm also looking forward to you guys joining in on the conversation because at the end of the day, we're living in this world together, right? So you can drop any comments, you can drop any questions, any topics that you'd like to see, be discussed in the comment section below. You can also subscribe to the channel so you can be the first to be notified, when these episodes are dropped. Super pumped, super excited. So a lot of people are mentally, emotionally, and financially burnt out right now. So there's so much going on a global scale where people are having a difficult time finding jobs, finding financial means to be able to take care of their families. So many people are having to live paycheck to paycheck and not being able to afford more than the necessities needed to survive. There has also been an increase in homelessness and people having to live out of their cars because the price of rent and mortgage is just at an all-time high. Everything from an emotional and a mental and a financial standpoint is just through the roof. So people are trying to heal, they are trying to survive more than anything else, right? So on top of dealing with everything on a personal level, they're also having to deal with the financial crisis, just the economy on a whole. And that is very taxing, for a lot of people. So much going on. And I feel like this is primarily due to the global ascension, right? Which is a bit of a spiritual concept of an evolutionary shift in human consciousness. And so this is what you'd refer to as a movement towards just higher awareness, global awakening, and a shift in the earth's frequency. This is where humanity on a whole, transition away from the ego and the fear and the division into a state of unconditional love, empathy, and interconnectedness. And so when these things are starting to happen, there's going to be you know, a lot of principalities and power in place that don't really want things to ascend at that level because then it wouldn't necessarily benefit them in the best way possible. From a religious standpoint, people would refer to this as the rapture or just the end times. But I personally don't see it as a bad thing. I think it's a difficult time that we have to face, and, shedding away different or older layers, are typically never easy. That comes with a lot. It comes with a lot of chaos because, like I said, a lot of principalities and powers, they're not going to want to, shed away that old. It has been in place for a very long time, and it's also very beneficial to them. So the power players are going to try in every way, shape, or form not to see that happen. So if it is that on a global scale, we're trying to move away from fear and the heavy survival, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to introduce a lot of fear. They're going to introduce a lot of, heavy survival. So even now, when we're looking at it, different viruses are coming out. People are not able to afford anything. Just the price of food, mere survival, everything has gone up, very high. So a part of that is just reintroducing that fear. We're talking about, war. We're talking about just people on a mental scale not being able to know what's going on. They're worried, they're losing everything. And so I just feel like that is a huge part of the shedding away process. And is to try to stop or to delay the ascension, because essentially you can't stop it, right? But you can try in every way to delay what it is that is coming. And people have to understand that it's very important to just take a step back, right? I know there is so much going on, but if we're trying to shed away and we're trying to get, rid of the old so we can step into the new, kind of like a snake shedding its skin, or just, a butterfly transitioning, sorry, a caterpillar transitioning, to a butterfly, those transitions are going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy. And so it's for people to kind of step back mentally to be able to see what is going on. But I think when we are stuck in survival and we're stuck trying to figure things out, and we're stuck trying to just be able to find somewhere to live, it's hard for us to see, the bigger picture, right? And so even in this season, I realize that a lot of people are moving, towards purpose. They're moving towards, their passion projects. So many people have lost interest in just the mundane, going to work, waking up early, going to work, and then after they're finished with work, they sit, for all these hours in traffic. And by the time they get home, they don't have any time to spend with their family. And on top of that, the money that they are bringing in, it's not even enough to where they can go and have a dinner. They can go out and do something fun. And so a lot of people are trying to move towards purpose. They're trying to move towards passion. But even within that, there are so many challenges because, once again, principalities and powers. Because one of the most or one of the quickest ways to move into, your abundance timeline is when you are doing things that you love, when you're doing a passion project, when you're doing things that fuel you, things that make you feel happy, things that bring out just so much joy in you. When you're doing these things, that's how you align, with abundance. And for so long, people have been in the system just trying to survive. So they're doing, the jobs that they have to do. So if even though you might not necessarily, love going into an office, or you might not necessarily, love selling clothes, you have to do these things because you have to survive. So like I said, people are moving or trying to move away into doing things that they love. But when they are trying to do that, everything is so difficult. So if you're someone, you've always loved content creation, or you're just wanting to be an entrepreneur, now when you post the content, it doesn't even go anywhere. The algorithm literally has stopped pushing people. If you're not doing, the trendy things or the things that everybody else is doing, the algorithm, it doesn't push you. And if it is that you are doing any form of business, you have to spend so much money to try to put that content out there. So it's almost like there is a blockage from every angle, for people just trying to push forward or trying to do, the things that they love. I know even just years ago, if you post a video on social media, within no time you have over 1,000 views. You have people coming in to watch it. But because so many people are trying to use this as, means to be able to support their families, now the content goes nowhere. Some people are trying to use this to push their business. The content goes nowhere. And that is literally a part of the system, just trying to stop that progress. Because if you are trying to do it on your own and nothing is moving, then what are you going to do next? You're going to go right back to the workplace. You're going to go right back to the things that, helped you to survive initially. So if you have to be in a corporate job, you're going to go there. If you have to work at a gas station, that's where you're going to go. And I feel like that is a part of what they are also trying to do. But I do see that there are a lot of people who, they're having a very hard time with the transition because of fear, because of already being stuck in that survival mindset. But then I also see a lot of people who are navigating this journey very well. They're taking the time to learn, they're taking the time to grow, and they're also taking the time to regulate their nervous system. So even though everything seems to be collapsing in the physical world, what we can see with our own two eyes, there's so many people who are going within because they understand that once the inside is calm, you can start to attract better. So even if everything around you is falling apart, you have to hold your center, because eventually things will get better. Eventually things will start to move how it is that, they're supposed to go. And even just with this, we can transition into, just difficult seasons overall, because so many of us, we shun away and we fear, difficult seasons, and we don't know how to handle a difficult season. And I am not one that subscribes to the notion that if a season is difficult, this is somehow God, humiliating you, or God punishing you, or this is just wrath. No, I feel like difficult seasons are very important. They're very important because they help to shape us. They help us to grow. They help us to evolve. And they also, prepare us how to handle the seasons that are coming. Because the last thing you want is to get the things that you have been desiring, but you don't know how to hold them. And I feel like the season of difficulty sometimes prepare you for that. It also removes people from your life who you're not supposed to take with you to the next season, and that is completely okay. So it's burning away, purifying, a lot of that old. And I also see a difficult season as one of protection, because sometimes, when you're stuck into that survival and you're just on go go go, you will walk right in through the wrong door. So if those doors are not opening now, it is just protection, because you don't want to attract the wrong people. You don't want to attract the wrong opportunities. So you don't see the unseen forces moving, and sometimes the pause is necessary. So take that pause to reflect, take it to learn, take it to grow, and position your mindset to see the good in what is happening, because you never want to start focusing on I don't have, or the lack that is going on around you, because that's just going to attract more lack. You have to reshape your mindset to attract the things that you want, and you have to go within, right? Because everything starts within as without. So you have to be able to know if these things are happening, they're happening for a reason, and there's a reason God is taking me through this season. And you have to believe wholeheartedly that things will be okay, right? Because there is a season for everything. There's a season under the sun for everything. And I think I was even having this conversation with my mom the other day. It's not for us to force our way through the difficult seasons. It's really for us to learn. And I think an example that I even used with her is, if it is that, for example, fruits bear, in different seasons. And so if we're using a mango, for example, and a mango tree, is said to bear fruits in July, and if it is that we're in May and June, there's no amount of pounding and knocking and doing all these things that are going to somehow let the mango tree bear fruit. No, it's for us to water the plant, fertilize it, speak life into it, and also prepare for when the harvest is here. So if you're going to use this harvest, to maybe sell it so that you can make some money, or you're going to you just want to be able to have the sweet mangoes to be able to eat for yourself or share with others, you speak life into that tree so that when it does bear fruit, the fruits are beautiful, they're juicy, and everything is okay. And then you can also be so prepared that you preserve even mangoes for later seasons when, the tree's no longer bearing fruits. And so we truly have to pay attention and look at just how it is, that the season is trying to prepare us versus just trying to do anything and everything to be able to survive. We have to take the lessons, because sometimes the lessons are here, and if we don't grasp them and we don't learn them, then we are going to have to learn them in another season, because that's how life is. It is a constant cycle. It's a cycle. It's a cycle. And what you don't learn now, you're probably going to have to learn in another season. But if you learn it now, you gather the awareness, then you're prepared. You know how to navigate the season. So even if it is that, a similar season rolls around again, now you are prepared. Now you know what to do. Now you have the mindset, right? So even, in the past, like I have been through a lot of difficult seasons. And there were times when I thought, how could I ever even figure this out? How is this going to work out? But those seasons, they taught me that you have to have a positive mindset. You have to find something, to be grateful for, something to be thankful for, and you have to be able to hold on to that. And you will be able to make it through the season. And because of those seasons, it prepared me for this season. So in this season, when, I could be panicking or I could just be, completely frantic, I am regulating my nervous system. I am healing. I am being patient. I am, being disciplined. I am putting in the work that I need to put in right now, even if it is that I am not seeing any results, because eventually things will move. Eventually things will fall into place the way that they are supposed to. And we have to have that faith. We have to have that blind faith, and we have to have that belief more than anything else, because belief is very powerful. So don't pay attention to all the noise and all the chaos. That is a part of the principalities and powers. Go within, center yourself, find something to be grateful for, spend time with your family, release the survival. Because your health is wealth, your mental health is wealth. Right? And you have to be able to show up in the best way possible. And if you're stuck in even survival or desperation, then you're going to move from that place. And if you're moving from desperation, the only thing that you're going to attract is more desperation. And so that's why sometimes, if you have people who are going out to steal, and they might feel like this is going to be something that's going to help me in this moment. They are moving from a place of desperation. And where does that sometimes land people? In jail. So we just have to be careful, and we also have to just be mindful of others. If it is that we can help others in any way, shape, or form, we do that. I know sometimes, we're not even able to show up for ourselves, or we don't have the strength to be able to navigate, a season. So sometimes it is very difficult to be able to even reach out to others or just be there for others, because sometimes, like I said, we can't even show up for ourselves. But in the little ways that matter, you can try. And even if sometimes it's from a selfish place where, you have to just take this moment for yourself to make sure that you're surviving, just like what they say in the plane. Put on your mask first before assisting others. And sometimes you have to take the moment to put on your mask first. And if that means spending a little bit of time alone so that you can keep your mental sanity, that is okay too. That is okay too, because you have to be okay before it is that you can go out there and, pour into others. So that is very important. So it's also very important to note that everyone is struggling. Everyone is struggling in one way or another. Maybe some people are financially okay, but some people are going through, emotional struggles. They're going through different life crisis. So there's nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed about. We're all literally just going through this life and trying to navigate in the best way possible. And we also have to know that divine timing is real. So even though things are, going on right now, keep in mind that at the right time, God will work things out. The right doors will open. The opportunities will come. And they will come at a timing that is perfect for your journey. They will come at a timing when the door that is supposed to open is the door that you need to open. So have faith in that and hold on to that. So if you're someone who is going through a difficult season right now, keep going. Even if the progress feels slow, even if things feel heavy, even if you're rebuilding mentally, emotionally, or financially, keep going. You are not the only person struggling, and your current situation is not your final destination. And sometimes the darkest seasons truly does build the strongest people. So I'm happy that you guys were able to join me for another episode of Ascension Unfiltered. And remember, this week is our Ascension Takeover Week. Oh my gosh, it's my project and I forgot, right? So it's Ascension Takeover Week. So one episode every day for 5 days. And of course, I would love for you guys to join in on the conversation. So drop your topics, your comments, your questions, everything below. And if you're, having a difficult season and you want to talk about it, we are here to talk about it. You can drop those in the comment section. And also don't forget to subscribe so you can be one of the first persons to see, when the videos are dropped. But thank you so much for joining me for Ascension Unfiltered. Unfiltered truth, unlimited growth, and ascending through every season. And that's what we're doing. We're ascending through this season. So let's get it. Thank you.